Hi, my name is Winnie. I'm a mother. I'm a born-again Christian. I'm a social worker by profession, and here is my story. My name is Winnie. I'm born in Baringa County, that is in Kenya, and migrated to Australia in 2018 on student visa. To go back to that background of migrating from Kenya, I went through so much at that time because the late partner that I had before passed away when my son was only 2.5 years. And there was a lot going on in that family background where I just wanted to escape that trauma. That is how I ended up in Australia. The journey as a student visa has been incredible, I would say, even though it was a bit difficult, it was challenging. But one thing I kept reminding myself is, why did I leave Kenya? And that is the reason why it's been really tremendous journey.
Amazing, amazing. And this in this life, in basically in Australia, when you arrived, how did you now start doing life? What are some of the things now you start enjoying? Maybe to help you out, just to transition, because the transition phase is actually the most difficult phase with most of the students I've been talking about. But how did you, carry yourself through that transition stage and the student life? And what did you do to actually make you, just continue and live and get a good life in Australia?
Yeah. First of all, I had goals that I wanted to achieve, and to remind myself every single day what is my focus, and that kept me going. When I arrived in Australia, I had help from a family friend who was very helpful at that point, because everyone wants a hand when they're arriving in a new place. And I made friends. I started uni. It was culture shock, I would say. The food is different, the weather is different, everything just sounded, even the study itself was really hard. Not that in Kenya it wasn't, but it's just different. First of all is figuring out how to finish school with the financial hardship in it, and not forgetting your family back in Kenya, that you would like to help them here and there. Not that you have to help them, but it's just a calling that's everyone else is different is in doing it, right? So my focus was the same. I had a son as well that I left in Kenya, and my main goal was to bring him over to spend time with me. And to go back to that, I was not able to bring him at that time because it was just challenging and difficult moment. I had no other family. So the hardest part was just, how is he coping? How can I bring him over? How am I going to succeed? How am I going to not fail at all and make sure I finish uni and get my residency if I'm aiming on that line? So that was the hardest part, on just putting the focus ahead and not being swayed around with other things that are involved, including partying, including alcoholism, including hanging out with friends who are, the peer pressure part. And that was the hardest part, that I was really wanting myself to keep the focus on graduating and, making myself successful. So how I managed to go through is just every single day you have to remind yourself, what was your goal? What was your focus? What was your purpose? Are you looking at achieving this goal, or you want just to smash your life in the midst? And another thing is, because we are not young, we are growing. Every second day, it's added life. And of course, in every journey I was doing, I was adding God on that. I was involving God. I was surrendering to God. And if something was difficult for me, I would always call unto Lord and say, this is hard for me. How am I going to do it? And it wasn't easy. At some time, I was stumbling back and I would cry. I would lock myself in a room and cry. And that's not the end. So I would say I never really left my focus behind at any stage. I just went, and that's how It has been.
Amazing. And you spoke about something very, your spirituality. Let's try and now talk about, the things that actually kept you going. How would you tell a new student, or maybe someone who's going through something, the importance of spirituality and also having a community around you? How did that actually help you to actually navigate this thing we call migration?
First of all, know yourself, know your values, know your beliefs. If you're a Christian, stick to the Lord. If you are not a Christian, try and figure out how other people are managing this life of Christianity. When I came, I was, just to step back, I was raised in a Christian background. Both my parents were Christians. Going to church on Sunday was a norm. So that thing was in my head all the time. It lingered every single day I was here. And first thing I came and did was to find a church. First of all, it's difficult as a student because on Sundays when you want to work, but giving God that time is very important. And giving God that, even if it's in the morning or it's in the afternoon, the goodness of this country is churches are not long hours. They can be 2 hours, they can be morning, they can be evening. So it's best for you to look for that. And I just wanted to be close to, just to know God, just to hear the word of God every single day. I had my Bible with me that I was trying to read at least whenever I have time, but at least every morning and every evening I wanted to pray and read that Bible. Another thing with the community, it is very crucial to be connected to a community. It doesn't matter if you are involved in activities, or it's just best to engage, to be communicating with other people, the community. And the reason behind that is because you never know. You never know, anything can happen in the world. You could be down and you want to speak to someone. And in speaking to someone, it doesn't have to be your friend. It has to be, it doesn't have to be someone you know very well. It just could be the leader of the community. If you're not feeling comfortable, those leaders were chosen for a purpose and they're there to support you wherever you can. So that connection is very important, and just putting God in everything you do. That's what I did.
And then after how long did you now manage to bring your son over? And how was that?
After I came in 2018 and I brought my son in 2022, right?
Yeah.
And to bring my son, I wanted first of all to make sure I clear the part of the uni. And bringing my son under that student visa means another international school fees on top of what I have.
Yeah.
So every single cent I had, I wanted to save her. And the application for my son to add him on that student visa was the challenge, because it took a while for that visa to come through. And I had to actually follow up myself. Even though I had a lawyer who was supporting me with that visa process, I myself had to email the immigrations and check in how my son is going and how the visa is going, and I need to bring my son over. So it's the anxiety in it. It is the feeling of I'm failing. What can I do to make things better? But eventually the visa arrived, and it was just a joy that no one else would explain to you how it looks like. And my son arrived in 2022 February, and I just want to give him the best life. I just want him to be happy. I just want him to know he's got love around him right now. He had love back in Kenya, but the thing is, the mom is here. The dad had passed away, and being raised by other family is not, it's just different for a child than having your own mother and your own father. So it was happiness in our souls, and everything I wanted to do is for him. I wanted to give him the best life. I wanted him to go to make friends, join sports, and that is how the journey was with my son. Eventually, he adapted to the lifestyle. He got to school, he adapted the lifestyle, and at this time, I'm thinking, school holidays in Australia is massive thing. What can we do? So it was school holiday, and we will ask, Mom, what can we do? Mom, I need to do something. And in my head, I just wanted to take him on a trip in December holidays. And one of my hobbies is traveling. probably prefer to go around Australia first before I travel to other countries. And that is the thing I did. I just wanted to take him outside another state. And yeah, that's what happened, is the big thing that I did.
Wow. And now, just following through with this journey now, in these holidays, what happened?
Let's go back to December. New Year. We went to the fireworks. That's what I'm looking for. We went for the fireworks on the 31st with the family friends that are around us, and this is the time when my family friend's mom had come over. We're just doing this community activity, and we went to the fireworks, and we were traveling the next day on the 1st. We're going to Queensland, the Gold Coast to be specifically. And at this time we're excited. We booked the SeaWorld, we've booked the movie world, we booked everywhere that we wanted to go with my son, right? And the journey arrives where we need to go to Queensland. And one of my family friends dropped us at the bus stop. We went to the airport, and as we're excited. And we arrived in Surfers Paradise in Gold Coast, checked into our hotel, and we now figured out where can we start. SeaWorld first, movie world first. We're very excited. One thing I am reminding everyone is don't forget God in every plan you make. And I don't want to say it's a failure for me, because I was excited and I forgot to say, God, take over. That's the thing. I don't it's just difficult to say it. I planned, and now I have learned. It's a lesson. I have learned that everything I do, I've got to say, God, let your will be done, or if it's your will, God, let's do this, or be the guider. We slept in our hotel. The next day we were going to SeaWorld. We hired a taxi, and that's us in SeaWorld. And that's when my husband joined me in SeaWorld. At that time, he had gone prior to the sister in Sunshine Coast. So in SeaWorld, we enjoyed the dolphins. I love the dolphins, watching the dolphins in SeaWorld. And that's the thing I wanted Leon to do. With the helicopter ride, at that time, they were advertising. We passed through as we go to the dolphins. They advertised was an offer, the price is going down, and then we thought, let's do it, right? And in Geelong, where we come from, there are helicopter rides that I've always wanted to do, these helicopter rides, and this is the time. We paid for the helicopter, and we were told it would be 2:00, so we went and had lunch, and then we came back. One thing I am still mentioning again is that my son didn't want to go to the helicopter rides. And we talked about it, and you know how moms do, you cover for your children. It's going to be okay, let's just do it. And we did the helicopter rides. We did the introduction part, and then we of course went to the helicopter, and unfortunately it didn't last long. It was only 2 minutes that I wasn't able to see any scenery that I wanted to see. I only saw a car park, and I only saw the shore of the ocean, and that's it. And yeah, we had a bang, and the helicopter started shaking and bubbling, and it just bumbled, and I didn't want to see that part. I say right now, I was shaken with the things that happened in my life, but that was the hardest shaking I've ever experienced in my entire growing life. And in saying that, there was fear, there was lost hope, there was a dependency on the pilot that maybe he will help or stabilize this helicopter. But I was looking at him at this point, and I'm thinking, he's not gonna make it. He's pressing all the buttons, he's trying to hold it, he's trying all he can, but it's like this thing is becoming like a plastic thing in the air. it's just shaking and it's just plummeting to the ground. So I lost hope. As I grow up, I've been resilient. I have been strong with everything I've gone through in my life. I have been very, very resilient. That is when my last hope was. And again, God, I did not forget to pray at this moment. When I saw the pilot cannot do it, and I looked around, everyone else is shaking, and I'm feeling sorry for my son that we had to do this, I said a word of prayer, and I said, God, first of all, I denied the death. When the Bible tells us what you declare about your life, sometimes it really matters. And that is what I declared. I am not going to allow death come to us. God, let your will be done. And I closed my eyes. And the next thing I hear was on the ground, people pouring water on us. The helicopter is on top of me. I'm very helpless. Helpless in a state that I could not remember my date of birth. I only remembered my son's first name and my name, first name. I couldn't remember our second names. And at this point, thank you to everyone who came through. People risked their lives. They were holding our hands. Personally, no, myself only was holding my hand and encouraging me that help is coming. And I'm asking, where is Leon at this time? And they said, Leon is okay. And where is he? I'm asking, where is he? Oh, he's being supported. He'll be airlifted very soon. Even though the doubts of, could they just be lying to me so that I be stronger? But then I asked God for forgiveness for that, because I was doubting God, which is not something I would like to do ever in my life, doubt the Lord. And we got helped. We were pulled out of the helicopter on the side, and that's just how we ended up in hospital. But it was the painful part where you can't come out. You're helpless, and this is another encouragement to someone else going through that moment. You're helpless. Don't take advantage of life when you can. When you can use your hands, you can come out of a situation manageable. I couldn't. I stretched one of my hand, like on the left hand side, because this other body was all covered by the helicopter. I stretched my hand and asked one of the guys, just pull me. And he couldn't pull me because I'm trapped in the helicopter. So I was really helpless. And they had to chop the sides of the helicopter to be able to pull me. And this time again, the aviation fuel is burning me. It is soaking me, and on top of that is water, of course. And the machines are hot, and my back is just burning everywhere. It was just horrifying. At some stage, I thought it was unreal. You know how you watch a movie and you wonder, is that really real? This is a real story. It happened to someone who is here speaking right here today, and I'm just grateful. We went to hospital and we got supported, and this time I can't remember most of the things, because I think I was induced or to forget the pain. And the next thing I was waking up to was the next day at 3 or 2 a.m., somewhere there in ICU, just figuring out what's going on, what happened, where is my son, where is my partner, what's happening. And in ICU, you've got 24-hour care. And I was asking the nurse there why I can't lift my arm, I can't lift my legs. It's only this arm that's working. And you're thinking you're helpless because your whole body is wrecked. It's only one arm. My eyes was actually blurry because I had burns on my eyes. So this time it's only my left arm and my head that is working. Every other part of the body is not going well. So that is how the treatment went ahead in hospital, and here we are. here we are today.
Just maybe a question, and most people would want to know or would be asking, how was your state of mind at that time?
At this time, I'm in shock. Huh? I'm in really, really big shock because I am looking every single day and let's say every 2 hours, I was zooming the helicopter and identifying where was I sitting? Where did I come out of? How did I come out of this? And it's a wreckage. And what I was asking myself is, how did we survive? It's the question I can't answer even. No one else can answer, because the report came out saying unsurvivable accident. And another thing that was in my brain was, where are others? And up to date, I'm not accepting that they died. That's something I need to work around. But it's true, they died. I was reading magazines. I was reading through the Google. I was looking at our names, the 7 of us in the helicopter, and deceased, injured. And it comes to my head where people actually died. And it's the fear now in me that, what if we had died? How did that look like? I am asking God, is this true? I am asking myself at the same time, am I surviving? I had to pinch myself and ask, it's actually true. And everyone else coming to the hospital, the doctors, the nurses, everyone is wondering, Winnie, you're alive. It was a tragic accident. So the question is still, how did we make it? And did really other people die? And what killed them? And because we were 4 of us, myself, Leo, Nicholas, and the late mom. And I'm wondering, even though they died, what happened to the lady who was sitting beside us? And these are the questions you ask, but then you say to God, you have a reason, you have a purpose. You had a plan for every single one of us, and you knew how many days we're going to live on earth. What were the things we needed to do? And the last thing I reminded myself is, or I got encouraged with, and someone else would be encouraging me with, is God has a reason for you, and there is a purpose for you. There is work that the Lord wants you to do. There is a job for you that you haven't finished. And I ask God every single day, what is that job? What is that role you want me to do?
Wow. Yeah. And did this now prove, or did this bring you closer to God?
Absolutely, yes. It brought me closer and closer to God, and it even made me be a prayer warrior. Know how to pray every morning, every evening, read the Bible, talk about God. Now I can talk about God every single day. And sometimes in life we are being told things happen to you so that you outspoke it, like you express how it feels. Yeah. And this is what happened to me. And knowing God is another thing. Experiencing God is a different thing. And that is what happened to me. The Lord saved us from that crash. We are here. It's not just we are here. We are here able to walk again, able to use our brains again. So as my boy, able to walk, able to do the things that he likes to do. Even though it's still a process, it's still a journey. We still have other injuries that were identified like a weeks ago. Like my shoulder is still very, very, it has a nerve study induction that needs to come across. One of my hips has an issue. I still go through psychology sessions. I have to mentally be stable, but I am not complaining. I am saying I got closer to God because of the things that God did. They are tangible things that I can see, and that's why I praise the Lord every single day, and I really, really want to encourage someone out there who's going through the difficult time. The Lord never left. I share now my victorious parts of the Lord, because I think whatever happened in my life, it didn't shake me. The thing that shook me was the helicopter, but I didn't forget God at the same time. But the things that I go through in my life, it just brought me back to the Lord. And I just want to praise the God every single day and remind someone else who is wanting either to get closer to God or not, please choose the right path, to always stick to the Lord. Thank you to the community that stood by us. I know before we talked about when you land in Australia, just know the community you're with. Know the people around you. It doesn't have to be the whole community. 1, 2, 3 is enough. Being with the leadership is just having the contact details, or having details of knowing the community is very important. The community came through for me massively. I can't even explain how it felt. Remember, I've been away from my son for almost 2 months out of different hospitals. And do you know who came through? The community. When my son was in ICU, was in coma, the people sitting beside them, first was my husband's sister, who stood by Leon's side for a couple of days. And then we had now the community coming in every day. They were like doing shifts at the hospital. Others were even had their study, had their research, took their computers and stood beside Leon's bed, and they were just there helping out. When my son started having food, they were cooking on intervals and coming on my side, not forgetting people who flee from Geelong. They came to see me. I want to shout out to them. Thank you very much. And even though others did not make it, they made a huge support around, funding for those tickets, probably, text messages, emails, everything that everyone else could have done. The community stood by me, being on the media to speak about how it feels to have someone in hospital and having to have gone through such a tragic accident. So again, community is very crucial to have around you. Embrace the people who are close to you. You don't have to help out in terms of financial. Just being there for them, communicating, giving them a hand when they need you. It's very, very important. And I really, really thank Kenyan community, because they've been just amazing people to have around.
Amazing. And with this victory and this miraculous journey, we just want to now know how the recovery has been now, just coming out of hospital. How has that journey been? Because we have a lot of people who've gone through traumatic experiences, hard times, but the most hard part is always the recovery. What was the most challenging part of your recovery, and how is that going for you?
I'll step back and send my gratitudes again to the whole of Australia. The only thing I saw through that journey was love and support and friendship. Everyone who supported me through this journey. The challenge now is coming to reality. Having broken legs, having broken shoulder, the fear, the worries, it's even going to the road was like being in a car is a challenge. Even flying now, despite my hobby is traveling, is a big challenge. We can't talk about flying right now. It's been less than a year, I understand, almost a year, but we can't talk about flying at all. We can't talk of the name holiday. It's trauma. It's traumatizing. If someone talks about holiday, I just want to skip out of that communication. I don't want to have that conversation, because it is the fear of what will happen, what's, all the worries around it. And in that space, the resilience again that I've been having somehow got shaken, because this is too hard. It's physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically. Every part of it was broken into pieces. The things that was worrying me was how OT is going to assess the house. How am I going to use a walker around the house? How am I going to, use the amenities in the house to fit the purpose of my situation at that point? And now, a reality of coming home has arrived, and actually, when I got home, that is the moment I crashed, because it's the truth. Actually, I got into an accident and I've got broken legs, and it's not, life is not the same again. And having to have arrived, if you can't drive, you have to depend on other people to take you to appointments. And having appointments, I think I had only like 2 days that I didn't have appointments in person. But any other day, I had an appointment, either physio, either psychology session, either orthopedic doctors, or my son's ENT appointments, or brain injury appointments, all this going on. And I thought my life is finished. It was looking like it's the end of life. Apart from having to have felt the end of life back when the helicopter was shaking. But you know what? Something encouraged me was, you made it. You are here. It's a process. And a process doesn't mean it's a bed of roses. It has rocks, it has thorns. It was difficult having to be going to appointments almost every day. And now I'm thinking, now I'm meant to be going to work. How am I going to make this happen? And the appointments are there up to date. I'm still like the coming days. I've got MRI coming up because of the new identified injury. So it's not ending. It's a long road, and it's going to be sitting by us the rest of our lives, because having items in your bones, it's something to worry of what will happen in the next 20 years. So I'm focusing on right now, even though it worries me of the future, what's going to happen to us. But mentally, I would say having close people beside you to talk to. Every time we meet with my community members, my family, friends, we still talk about it. And somehow you get reminded that you survived. It's a challenge, but how are you going to cope with this? And reading books has really been another encouraging thing that helped me out. Reading books, reading other people's stories, listening to other people's stories has kept me going. You listen to someone else's story and you wonder, how did they make it? And you just get motivated to step in and see the future brightly. And that's what I just did, focusing on I survived and let God be the guider. Everyone's journey is different, and what I've gone through might not be the same as what someone else is going through. Someone else could be going through abuse, sexual assault, rape cases, car accidents, failed marriage. Someone else could be going through the same situations. But in that, everyone else has a way of maneuvering and how to come out of the other side of the road successfully. And on me, I was more dependent on hope and having my faith up, that I never gave up. When I look at my boy, I get encouraged. When I imagine what happened to the other families around me, I feel like I am really lucky. It's such a miracle. And to encourage someone else going through the same situation or a different situation is don't give up. I know don't give up could sound like, what are you telling me? But in saying that, there are people around you who love you. There are people around you who can support you. There are people around you who might not fund you financially, but they're here to give you a hand and walk you through the journey. And we're in a very, very a progressed country or developed country, there's supports around you. There's mental health practitioners, there's mental health support services. If you don't wish to speak to someone you know, if you don't want to go through the community, you could go through the support centers around you. You could just check around, like go on Google and say mental health support services around you. Some are free, some are walk-in, and there's also the 1800 respect number that you can call. There's so much around you that you can help yourself with. Read articles, in your own free time. Go through articles that can encourage someone. Listen to podcasts that motivates you. That's what happened to me. When I was feeling down and I can't get up, I would just put a song or put a broadcast that will just keep me going. And with someone else going through the same thing at this point, just speak to someone if you can.
How's Winnie and how's Leon? How are you guys doing, and how's life now? What are the new things you've picked up? What are, some things that, life has to go back to normal, or you have to create your new normal. Now, how's Winnie now?
Now, at this point, I'm smiling.
Yeah.
I am still very thankful. I am very hopeful for the next phase of my life, where God wants me to do a lot of work for Him. And this is where I am. Leon is recovering better. We are both recovering. It's still a journey with psychologist help and counselors. Like, we have nearly every week we have psychology sessions going on. And this is just a norm. We are not complaining and saying it could have been better. We're just grateful that we are here and we are able to manage to step into another lifestyle. Life lessons: don't take life for granted. I was helpless in hospital, not able to turn, not able to sleep normally because my back was burned, my legs are swollen, my shoulder is broken. And I was thinking, while I was walking and being able to do other things in life, it was different. But life lesson: don't take life for granted. Embrace every single second you have. Enjoy the hobbies you like doing. Do the things you like doing. Visit your friends. Laugh and love. And do what makes you happy. Just do yourself. Just be you. That's what I encourage someone else out there.